Now it's time for baking with Mother. Today we are baking peanut butter cookies.
Hello and welcome to this week's video. Today we are making peanut butter and chocolate chip cookies. So to start with, we have to add our butter, which you need to have had softening to room temperature. That's been sat on the side there for about 45 minutes. So put your butter in, then we add both sorts of sugar. So you've got your white sugar, that makes the cookies crispy. Then you've got your brown sugar, that makes them chewy. So by having them both, you get a bit of each. Okay, and we want to mix that until this is light and fluffy. Okay, that's had quite a few minutes, about 5 minutes-ish now. So we're going to take a look at that and see if it looks nice and light and fluffy. Clean off our beaters as always, because we need to be mixing the ingredients, and if they're stuck to the beaters, they do not mix. So get it all off. It's quite thick, I have to say. I think this needs a little bit longer to become a bit lighter and fluffier. So we're just going to clean off the beaters there, scrape round the bowl, because you'll find that the butter will sink to the bottom. So that's all together now in one lump. So I'm just going to give that another couple of minutes, just on a higher speed, just to make sure it's as light and fluffy as it can be. Okay, I think that's about done now. So now we're going to turn that down and we're going to add our eggs one at a time. So we're going to add the first egg. Mix in while we prepare our second egg. Okay. So we're going to let that beat now just for a few more seconds, then we're going to turn it off, and at this point you need to be scraping the ingredients away from the edge of the bowls and off the beaters, because it needs to fully mix with this egg before we add the second one. And you'll notice that the mixture sticks like it doesn't want to mix to the edge of the bowl, so just scrape that all together, and then we're going to give that another mix before we add that second egg. Just get everything back off your spatula so it's got as good a chance as any to mix in the bottom of the bowl there. There we go, I think that's good enough. Right, so we're going to mix that again. And that's mixing much better now. It's not stuck to the edges of the bowl. I think that's fine. So now we're going to add the second egg. Let that mix in. Again, just scraping it away from the edges, just to make sure that it all incorporates with that egg. Take it all off of there. sure it's all off the beaters, or as much as you can. Obviously you're not going to get it all off. And once you're happy with that, we will turn the mixer back on. So just turn it back on. Slow speed. Put it on number 2 just for a minute. Okay. Now we're turning it down to a slow speed, and we're going to add our half teaspoon of vanilla directly into it. And then we've also got to add in our peanut butter. So we're just going to do this a bit at a time. Directly in like that. There we go. I'm going to use this, I think, just to get it in a bit better. My hands around the right way. So just keep adding this a bit at a time into the mixture on a slow speed. It down into the mixture quite nicely. A bit more. Take that off. Get the last bit out of the bowl. Get that in as well. There we go. That's the last bit there. There we go. So that's that now. I'm going to let that, turn that up slightly and let it mix together. Okay, so now all the peanut butter has mixed in. We're going to turn that off, and the next stage is to add our flour. We pop in our flour. And then also our bicarbonate of soda and salt need to go in. So there they go. And then we need to mix that together, and it says it will make and it needs to go into a smooth dough is formed. So let's get that going. Gently at first, because you don't want your flour to go everywhere. Once it's incorporated in, we can go a bit faster. Flour's incorporated now, so we're going to turn that up slightly. Okay, so that's now made a nice smooth dough, so we're going to get this all off. Now we don't need the mixer anymore, so now we need to scrape every last bit off of our beaters now. So using a spatula or a spoon or a knife or whatever you find easiest, get every last bit off. It's quite a solid dough, I would describe it as. It's not a wet one at all, so it's a bit harder to scrape it all off because you have to scrape it all off. Now, I don't want to lose any, so we have to just keep going and scrape it all off. Use the edge of that. I think it's going to be easier to clean the spatula. There we go, that's a bit easier. Just keep keep going until you've got as much of it off as you can. There we go. So I think I'm not going to get much more of that now, so we're just going to get rid of that into the washing up. There we go. Then we bring the bowl over. There we go. And then now we're going to give it a quick stir just to get it all away from the edge of the bowl. And just, as you can see, it's quite a thick dough, like I said. So now we want to add in the chocolate. So this is just chocolate that I've chopped up myself. That gets added in, and then just stir that through by hand. What hard work. Just get that evenly spread through, and it is, like I say, it's a very heavy, thick dough. So there we go. Now the recipe does say to use 4 baking trays, but I only have 3, and I only have 3 shelves in the oven, so I'm going to do 8 cookies on each sheet. So as I've no idea how big these are going to be, I'm going to start off by small amounts and then add more as need be. Right, I think that's all evenly dispersed. So next thing to do is to get your baking tray that's lined with baking paper. I'm just going to use, I think I might use my bigger scoop to start with. And I'm just going to, okay. I'm going to go like that, and then I'm going to off-centre them this way. Obviously, if you've got 4 trays and 4 shelves in your oven, then you can use 4 trays, but I don't. So just keep repeating this until you've got 24 cookies. Okay, so we've got our 24 cookies on our trays, 8 on each. There we go, and there's the last lot there. So these now bake in the oven at 170 degrees for about 10 minutes. And the recipe says, because I haven't made these before, until golden around the edges and quite flat. So we will pop these in the oven now for 10 minutes. Alexa, start a 10-minute timer.
10 minutes, starting now.
Right, we'll be back in 10 minutes when they're done. Okay, I checked them after 10 minutes and they actually needed an extra couple, so I've given them an extra 2 minutes, and that timer is due to go off any second. There we go. Alexa, off. Now I'll see if they're done now. There we go. Flattened out, slightly golden. And there we go, that's the other tray. Right, okay, I'm going to leave these to cool in the tin now for about 5 minutes, and then I'll move them to the cooling racks to cool completely. So if you would like 12 of these cookies, suggested donation is £5 for 12. As you can see, they're lovely big cookies. Just let me know. If not, I will see you next week. Bye.
And there we have it. Thank you for watching this video, if indeed you still are. I hope it was useful. If you enjoyed this video, please drop us a like and subscribe. Check back soon for our next video, and if you have any suggestions, please pop them in the comments or email me directly on bakingwithmother@gmail.com.